The internet has made it easier than ever to start a business. Succeeding on the internet, now that's another story. The big question is, what are those who are succeeding doing differently? This podcast has the answers. Welcome to the Marketing Matrix podcast. I'm your host, Lisanne Murphy, and I am joined today by the incredible, beautiful, talented, confident, and friend of mine, Miss Rachel Pedersen. Rachel, thank you so much for coming on the show with us today.
Lisanne, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, guys, I have been dreaming of this interview since we were both at Funnel Hacking Live before the world started to come to an end. And I am so excited to have this powerhouse come. So Rachel, I had the opportunity to, I've been following Rachel for a number of years now, but I had the opportunity to hear her speak at this most recent Funnel Hacking Live. And we even had an opportunity to meet up at a networking event. And this woman is as genuine as she is smart. And I wanted to just take a second to just share how excited I am to have her and tell you a little bit about her and how she presents herself in the marketplace. So Rachel Pedersen is the queen of social media. She's an expert in all things social media. And she says, like literally every platform, which I totally love. She delights in empowering businesses with social media. She delights in empowering businesses to create social media strategists that support massive needle-moving growth. She teaches busy parents like herself how to find freedom by becoming successful social media managers without sacrificing the things that matter most, including family, friends, and their dreams. And guys, I just have to say, Rachel's one of the few people that I follow who, like, her business marketing and her life are just like, it's one, she does TikToks with her family, and you can tell that she will have an idea for something and she'll just do it in between things with her kids and with her husband, who she always is so cute to say, who she loves so much. And so I'm just really, again, Rachel, honored to have you, excited to have you, and just am so excited to turn the floor over to you and ask you some questions and let you take it away.
After that intro, I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope I live up to it. Thank you. Let's dive in.
Okay, perfect. So for those of you that don't know, Rachel Pedersen, and I would love for you, if you even were to, like, so right now you're really focused on TikTok. What is your journey to get to be the TikTok queen?
For sure. So my journey goes way back. I was obsessed with MySpace, and I spent a lot of time in middle school and high school grounded and stuck at home. So I was always online, like updating my profile, learning how to code so that I could have the coolest profile and, theme and everything like that. And that was where I started loving social. For me, it was the ability to connect with others, even when I felt kind of like isolated or, well, literally isolated, stuck at home, which is funny because that's actually very much so where we are today. But so then I started jumping into Twitter and having some fun right when I became a single mom. And once again, I was, at home with this baby in a phase of my life where I'm single and my friends are all going out and I can't afford a babysitter. So I started tweeting to, like, reality stars from TV shows, and they started tweeting back, and it was the coolest thing. Those were the moments where I would just have these, like, geek out moments. And I started connecting with some people from The Bachelor, and I actually built a friendship with one of the producers of The Bachelor. And we connected for years and emailed each other and supported each other. And it was a really awesome and really odd friendship for that reason, like, she was in Hollywood. And then it was about 6 years ago that one of my clients came into the salon when I was a hairstylist, and she said, my husband and I bought this little chicken chain. Will you show me your tweeter? And I got really freaked out. And I was like, what do you mean, show me your tweeter? But what she really meant was they desperately needed help with social media. And so I started helping them. And even though I so did not feel qualified, I knew that I knew more than them and that I could help guide them on this platform. And so, I started with Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and then slowly moved into all the other platforms. I think it then went also LinkedIn. And then I want to say then TikTok, and then really YouTube. I've had a YouTube for 5.5 years, but I haven't had success until TikTok started taking off. So that was kind of the journey, was learning each platform and the nuances of every single space, and yeah, the culture, as crazy as that sounds, of each platform.
I love that. And I just have to say, I don't know if you've been watching the Bachelor best seasons ever that they've been doing during quarantine. Have you been watching those?
I haven't, but now you just gave me something to binge.
Okay, so they are consolidating an entire season into a 2-hour episode, and they're like going through one a week. So they just like, I just watched the Ben Higgins episode, and
Ooh.
so you've got to check it out. So Chris is like producing them from his home, and it's actually really cool, like how they're doing
Yeah.
it. So,
What's your favorite season of The Bachelor or
oh,
Bachelorette?
so my favorite Bachelorette was JoJo,
Ooh, that was a
and
good one.
this most recent one with Peter was pretty hard to beat. Let's be honest, it was pretty good.
I liked Peter's. I was so frustrated. Did you see that him and Kelly are now together?
Yes,
What?
I lost it. I cannot even believe it. Oh man. How about yourself? What are your favorite episodes? Or your
I'm gonna
seasons?
have to go with Emily Maynard's season. I loved that season. I loved her as the Bachelorette. And for some weird reason, I loved Brad Womack's second season. Those were my two favorites. So a little more old school, but the
I
past
love it.
season with JoJo was so good. That one was amazing.
Yeah, it was so good and so tumultuous. Oh, so juicy. I love it. I love watching The Bachelor, probably for the same reason that Russell does, that the storytelling and the open hooks and the
Yeah.
closing loops and stuff. It's just it's marketing genius is really what it is. So awesome. Well, I love that we can bond a little bit on The Bachelor. Okay, so I love, Rachel, your tenacity to just dive into something and recognizing that even if you know just a little bit more than someone else that you're helping, you're offering them value. That's such an incredible principle that I pulled out from what you just shared.
Thank you.
So let's see, got a lot of questions about TikTok here. So in terms of TikTok, I know that there's a lot of controversy going on with TikTok in terms of it being banned in some countries and things like that. I'm really curious, from your expertise, do you see the people on TikTok, are they there because of a specific age demographic, or are they there because of the user interface? And like, if another platform like Snapchat or something improved their user interface to be more TikTok-like, you could see a lot of users migrating over to a different platform. Like, why TikTok? Why is it, what is it about TikTok?
It's interesting, because if you had asked this 2 years ago, I would say, oh, it's definitely a Gen Z thing. This platform, it was very young when I jumped on. I jumped on about 2 years ago, and before that, it was actually Musically, in case anyone didn't know that. And Musically was purchased by ByteDance in China, which rebranded it to TikTok. And so it used to be a very young demographic on the platform. And today, nearly 30% of users are over the age of 30. So isn't that a little bit shocking?
Totally.
I found that kind of crazy. And so there are a lot of people of different ages and backgrounds and beliefs. And what's so interesting about TikTok is that the platform is really well done. And so, like, I know I used to play with Dub Smash. I tried Vine back in the day, and a lot of my students are jumping onto like just testing out Byte, which is Vine 2.0. And they're also testing, Dub Smash and all these different platforms. And it just doesn't have the same cohesive feel. And I think what TikTok did so well is they stepped into the marketplace as the solution for the next generation. So when a platform starts young, and then the older people come on the platform and bring the businesses and the money and the advertising dollars, that's a really good sign of staying power. And so there's such a critical mass and so many celebrities, and there's just this entire culture on TikTok that has very deep roots. I just don't see another platform being able to replicate it easily.
That is so interesting. So interesting. So So, okay. I just like with Facebook. So I own a Facebook advertising agency, and that's where I specialize. And there's different strategies with organic and paid. Um, how does it differ with TikTok? Like, what are some things that you should consider if you're trying to push some organic, more viral type content versus if you're going into the paid game with TikTok? And keep in mind, I know very, very little about TikTok. So you can
That's
even
okay.
take the question I should have asked in that case.
Okay, so there's one immediate like disqualifier for ads for almost all businesses, at least in the United States, at least across the board, almost 100%. The media spend minimum is $20,000 over 7 days. So in order to even run TikTok ads, you have to be a pretty established company to be able to spend that, especially
Wow.
since the analytics and metrics behind the scenes aren't caught up to Facebook. So for most businesses, that's going to be a gamble. Whereas there are a lot of Fortune 500s and Fortune 5000s totally jumping in and running TikTok ads. So for most of us, the answer isn't going to be, at least yet, TikTok ads. Most of us are going to go organic. And so what I would first recommend every single person do is say, do I want to go viral and reach everybody? Or do I want to build kind of slowly and build the right type of followers for my business? Now, the answer could be both. The answer could be one, it could be the other, it could be somewhere in between. For example, I like balancing very viral content, a very diverse audience, because I like people. But for a lot of business owners, it's going to make a lot more sense to go really deep, deliver a ton of value, and become the go-to expert in their niche or industry on TikTok organically.
That's so interesting. Super, super interesting. Okay, so for the majority of advertisers, it is a strictly organic game at this point. And so how does it work? Like, when you gain followers, like, are you able to DM them like you do with Facebook, or like how do you get them from following you on TikTok into your business world where they can become a potential customer?
For sure. So I use a combination of things. One thing that's different about TikTok is that most of the time there aren't clickable links. Some people do have clickable links available in videos or their profile, but for most of us, that's not the case. I just got mine unlocked, so I'm super happy about that. But most of the time, what I do is I actually use TikTok as a top of funnel traffic driver, either to other social media platforms or to my email list, or obviously webinars also build my email list just in a different way. So I drive people either to my YouTube channel and say, if you want to learn more about this, I go in depth into this on my YouTube channel. You can check out this video here. I also will say, send me a DM on Instagram if you have any questions about this. I'll answer all your questions. My team and I will support you. You can also drive people to, trainings and drop links for that. At least at this point in time, that's still available. I'm sure they'll crack down on that at some point. Or you can say, check out the link in my bio. Even if it isn't clickable, people can copy and paste it.
Interesting. And are you like, is TikTok for you, are you in like a big experimental phase with it, or like have you been able to say like, yes, this has definitely made an impact on my business and it's something that I'm investing in as a very viable top of funnel strategy?
Ooh, I would say that we have already more than doubled down. It was about maybe 8 or 9 months ago that my experimental phase ended, and I had 7,000 followers, and I was like, it is time to double down. My team started seeing people saying, I found Rachel from TikTok. I love Rachel's content on TikTok. And that's when they were like, it's time to seriously go all in. So I went from posting maybe once or twice a day, not being super consistent, to completely switching to, this is an essential in my business. We create 3 to 7 pieces of content per day on TikTok.
Wow.
And I've even tested going, to 50 times per day. That did not make a difference, thankfully. But I know that this platform is worth the time that we're investing into it. We're all in. We're not at the phase where we're wanting to experiment with the TikTok ads yet, but I am about to start running some ads for some clients on TikTok.
That's so exciting. I know that one of the benefits of, like, for example, focusing on YouTube or like with a podcast is it's relatively easy to repurpose that content across other platforms and make adjustments to it to show that content. With TikTok, it seems like TikTok content is very specific to TikTok. So like, do you have content there that you repurpose elsewhere, or is like your TikToks get plan just completely separate from your YouTube and Facebook strategy?
Right now, it's almost 100% separate from my strategies on other platforms, with the exception being I often use TikTok as a traffic driver for new YouTube videos, and that has been crushing it. So that's been one way that we've gone about things. But all of the content I put on TikTok, outside of TikTok, it feels a little bit weird, with the exception of some TikToks that I will share on like an Instagram story or on a Facebook story, but it doesn't make sense on other platforms. It feels really weird.
Yeah, it's very, very different. And do you find that TikTok draws in a certain type of customer for your business, or like, is it pretty much like is it just like one segment of your customer base, or is it you're getting very similar customers from TikTok as you would from other platforms?
You know, I find that it is a blue ocean, which has been really neat. So for example, people will say, oh my gosh, I've never heard of a social media manager, or what is a funnel? They'll say those kind of things that show me, oh, this is a totally new audience. This is different than who we've all been running Facebook ads to, fighting for the same people in a way. So like, it was so cool for me to experience that blue ocean for the first time, but it's also brought me new opportunities for sponsorship on a level that I never had before. So with most of my offers, people are like, what is this? I've never heard of this, or they're brand new to it. And so that's the biggest thing I've discovered, is it's more people that haven't been exposed to the same messages before.
That's so neat. And has that created its own challenges, because like you need more introductory products than someone that has a little bit more awareness or higher level of education? Or like, are you like, oh, these are my people and I want to bring them in from the beginning and nurture them with your specific processes?
I've really been diving in deep into, why am I forgetting his name? I want to say Eugene Schwartz. Yeah, I want to say Eugene Schwartz book about advertising. I'm totally blanking on his name. It's a sign it's time for coffee. But his book dives into 5 different segments of the market and discovering like where they are, how aware they are of solutions, how fed up they are with other solutions. And there's these 5 different phases that you can really, connect with people in. And so I do like to create content in all of those different phases and bring people from different levels of awareness into my business. I'm not super picky. People can be, experienced business owners, or they can be like, this is new to me. I've never, done this. I'm totally open.
I love it. That is so cool. Yeah, I love those levels of awareness. I use that very much in my own agency, because I find that oftentimes clients they'll create their ads for one level of awareness, but then their funnel is built for another. And so there's this huge disconnect, and it causes issues with their CPA and their ability to acquire clients at a reasonable, margin. So that's so smart. So smart. Okay. So I always ask this question to every guest that I have, and it is this: what small marketing strategy or tactic has made the biggest difference in your business, and why?
Ooh, easily consistency. I wish that there was some like razzle dazzle showboat answer, but it's like, literally, that is the one thing that solves so much in marketing, holes and sales and trust and relationships with consumers. Consistency. If you show up consistently for a week and then disappear for a month, how do people know you're not going to do the same thing in the programs that they purchase?
Oh, that is such a good answer. And that's something I think as a growing business, it's easy to struggle with that, right? Because like you have like this space of time where you're able to batch out this content. And then once it's used up, if you don't create that time and space to create more content, you're feeling stressed in another area of the business. But I've seen that same thing, is that the more I'm consistent, the more people are willing to come into my business. And I see that for my clients as well. So we didn't need a razzle dazzle. We needed the
Yeah.
truth. And that was great, pure truth. That's so good. So
Yeah.
good. Okay. So do you have any suggestions like along that line in terms of how people can be consistent? Especially a lot of my listeners are in the solopreneur phase. Like, how do you create consistency when you're wearing every hat in your business?
Ooh, so this is going to be interesting. Consistency is easier when you are focusing on simplicity. So when you're a solopreneur, you're going to feel so much pressure to be everywhere and be everything to everyone. And one of the things that I wish someone had told me early on, so I didn't go down the rabbit hole of working way too many hours per week, is that I would do best by focusing on one or two platforms in the beginning, and then build up my revenue, hire some support, and it makes it a lot easier to expand to other platforms. So choose like one thing to be consistent with. Maybe it's, I'm going to email my list once a week. And that's one habit that you build out consistently. And then once you've got that going and you've got a good groove with it, then you're like, okay, I am going to go live on my Facebook page once a week. And so a couple things that can be really helpful with that include time blocking. That has been a game changer in my business. And the second big thing is a book called Atomic Habits. I love Atomic Habits. Have you read it?
I have not, but I'm ordering it as soon as we get off.
I think that one has quickly moved into my top 10 because it was so impactful on not just my business, but my life.
I love that. So good. Okay. So I love it. You can't underestimate the power of simplicity, and it's so much easier. You're exactly right, to be consistent. Okay. So as from agency owner to agency owner, I do have a question. What percentage of your business is done for you, agency type clients? And then what is your courses and more of your content consumption stuff? How do you balance those two?
Yeah. So in the past, we've always run two businesses. In the past, it was usually pretty close to 50-50 for way longer than I expected it would be. And then we started seeing done for you creeping down to about 40% and coaching products, et cetera, at about 60%. But then we actually switched our agency model into more of like a Shark Tank kind of model, which is really cool. So we only work now with clients that we come in as equity partners with, and that has been incredible. I don't recommend it for most businesses from the beginning because it means you're not going to make any money month one, but then you build up the revenue and start to see, okay, this is starting to pay off over time. So like my goal, obviously it's harder to break down the percentages when we're building a totally different model, but my goal is by the time I'm 40 to, be partners in 100 businesses. That's kind of my goal, and to be seeing most of them having success.
That's amazing. I need to like schedule a separate call to talk with you about that, because I'm working on a separate project right now, focused with e-commerce brands, starting budding e-commerce brands that we're looking into potentially some equity deals to help them as well. And so I would love to pick your brain if you ever have a minute for that. I love that, because you're taking on the higher risk in the beginning, but the greater reward, and with the team and with your experience. That's just amazing. So are you marketing yourself as a full solutions marketing firm, or are you like focusing in on like specific platforms, or is it client dependent?
It's totally client dependent, 100% custom. We build out everything from the funnels to the email automations to the Facebook ads to the YouTube strategy, whatever is needed. But the interesting thing is we haven't even marketed ourselves yet, and we're getting applications all the time for it. So it's 100% just word of mouth and reputation right now. And so that's been really neat. Like I haven't even thought about how to build out our own marketing for it because we haven't needed to. We actually filled we had 6 spots available for the rest of 2020, and we filled all 6 of them within 2 weeks of making this possible. And so then I was like, okay, I guess that makes it pretty simple. So then we'll probably take on somewhere between 5 and 10, businesses over the next year.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Oh man, I am cheering for you big time. That is seriously so exciting. All right. Well, I've got one last question for you in our last minute here. And it is this, what's been the biggest internal transformation that's happened for you as you've been on this entrepreneurial journey?
Oh my gosh. Can I say everything? Is that okay? Learning that your business is really a mirror for your own personal growth and development was huge. And learning that I can't outwork my own personal limitations. You have to face them. Business is like a crash course through therapy, and it's painful and awesome. And I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I love it. It's so good. Yeah. It brings all of your strengths and your weaknesses right into your face, and you have the opportunity to tackle them or not. It's one of the reasons I love being an entrepreneur as well. Okay. So Rachel, how can people follow you, get in touch with you, find you on TikTok? What are the details to follow the great Rachel Pedersen?
The fastest way to find me is my website, and that is rachelpedersen.com. All E's and a D in my last name. You can find all my social media, my free resources, my trainings, the free ones, all on my website.
Awesome. All right. Well, my friend, thank you so much for being on the Marketing Matrix and for sharing your heart, sharing your journey, even pulling back the curtain a little bit on your business to tell us what's going on and also what you are working to create. We are watching you and we're following you, and we are just so grateful to have you. And thanks for showing up every single day and being consistent and being that example of what you talked about.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This has been awesome.
Access granted. Access granted. Temporarily.